Hello everyone. I've had a lot of questions on this circuit and I'm going to try to tackle some of the problems in a way that will be helpful to you. We're going to try this top left one. This is on the first page. I hope everyone at least got this one. The answer you should have gotten was 1. If you got it wrong, it's most likely because this -1 was not put in parentheses. And that would have given you -2, and that would have given you like -3 or something. I don't know. So number 1, I'm not spending a lot of time on. Number 2, I don't know, you can see my little pointer thing here, but it says if these 2 points are 2 points on a line, what is the y coordinate of this point here, 2y? Well, in order to figure that out, we need to figure out what y equals when x is 2. Well, we need an equation for that, and there's a couple things we have to do. This is a throwback all the way to Math 1, 2 years ago. You need point slope form. That is, I wrote it right up here at the top of the screen. Point slope form, which is y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. I like to write it that way so I don't have to move my y1 to the other side. And then I labeled -2 is x1, 3 is y1, and for the next point over here, oops, I didn't mean to move that. But this 0, 7 here, that's x2 and y2. And I know it's really tiny, but really I'm trying to just explain these problems. So over here, I have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And plugging these points in, I have 7 minus 3 over 0 minus -2. It's easy to lose the minus sign here. That gives you 4 over 2, which equals 2, and that gives you m equals 2. I can pick either one of these points. I picked the first one, -2, 3, and plugged it into my point slope form, simplified it, and got 2x plus 7. Then all I had to do was plug 2 back into the linear equation and got -11 for my answer. This next one, it has, what fraction of kids preferred brand B? Well, I'm looking at brand B. I have 25 kids that wanted brand B out of a total of 45 plus 25, which is 70. And if you reduce the fraction, you get your answer. This next problem over here, you need to know what an explicit equation is. And I don't think I finished. The EQ here is for equation. And the explicit equation is f of x equals dx plus 0. And so I'm going to look on this table where x is 0. And when x is 0, y is -1. So this point here is key. Also, throw back to Math 1, you had to find a common difference in this case, or at least I realized there's a common difference. When I looked, I'm like, okay, -7 plus 3 right here is -4. -4 plus 3 is -1. -1 plus 3 is 2, and so forth. So because it's plus, that's why we have a common difference. If it was multiplying, then we'd have a common ratio, and we'd have to use the explicit formula for an exponential function, or geometric. We haven't heard that word in a while. So my common difference is d equals 3. So plugging it in, I'd have 3x plus f of 0, which is -1. So 3x minus 1 would be my answer. The next 4 problems. On this one, you could use guess and check. There's this cool way I just learned. If you multiply the 2 outsides, you get -42. And I was looking for factors of 42. And the only ones that would give me my middle term 11 was if I had -3 and 14. And what you do is you put your 2 on the outside, and then I'd have x minus 3 over your first number here, your a value. So a goes here, and then you'd have, so I take my -3 over 2, and then I have x plus 14 over 2. So I take my two factors, put them over here, simplify them, and so I'd have 2x, and the 2's here cancel, so it's 2x minus 3. This one is x plus 14 over 2, which becomes 7. Remember, when you multiply 2 through, you only multiply it through the first part. The question asks, well, if x plus 1 is a factor, what does n equal? Well, this is 2x minus 3, so that would be like 2n minus 3. No, I want x plus n. So it's this one I'm looking at, the x plus 7. And x, if I'm comparing it to x plus n, then n would equal 7, which is down here. But we're going to do this one first. Polynomial, factor it. Again, factors of c. Basically, there's only two possible factors, which are 1 and 5. I'll put my x's in. I need a -6. The only way to get -6 would be -1 plus -5 equals -6. So this would have to be -1 and a -5. And it says to advance in the circuit, search for one of your factors. So look for x minus 1 or x minus 5. One of them is your answer somewhere up in where it has the answers. And then the last one, these are absolute value functions, and you actually have two equations that you need to solve. Since the x plus 10 is already by itself, it's not being multiplied like 2 times the absolute value of x plus 10. We could have two possible answers. So I'd have x plus 10 equals 7. And I remember teaching my Math 2 students last year, x plus 10, and you set it to -7 to get your second answer. Solve for both of those, and you'd end up, this one would be x equals -3. And this one is x equals -17, so -17. To advance the circuit, find the sum of your solutions. So -3 plus, I'll do it in red, -3 minus 17 equals -20. And that is the first page of the circuit.